Now let's try this really simple thought exercise. Imagine you're in a courtroom, more specifically you're in the jury, and you see the prosecutor approach the defendant and ask this really simple question. When was the last time that you beat your wife? Now, as a jury member, there's an assumption there that this person is a wife beater because that question is so heavily laced in something called presupposition. Presupposition is the assumption that's built into language, and we can use these assumptions to help us to get customers to answer difficult questions. Here's another example of a piece of presupposition, and it's used a lot within the world of magic. Imagine that you have just been handed a deck of cards from a magician, and the magician turns around to you and says, "I'd like you to reshuffle these cards." Now, the assumption built into that and the presupposition is that the cards have already been shuffled because he said, "Reshuffle the cards for me." So the chances are you're not going to shuffle them thoroughly. Now, this piece of presupposition is actually changing behavior. So here's an example how we can use this with a client. And listen very carefully to the way that I set up this question. Now, as you can imagine, I deal with one-man bands right through to multinational corporates. They tell me their budget and I'm always amazed at how much they vary. Some of the smaller players in the market actually have a larger budget than the blue chip companies. Just out of interest, what type of budget are you working towards? Now, the presupposition that's built within that piece of framing is this. I deal with one-man bands right through to multinational corporates. They tell me their budget and I'm amazed at how much they vary. So straight away, the customer is assuming that these businesses tell us their budget, or tell me more specifically their budget. And they're going to feel far more comfortable giving me that budget because of the presupposition that's assumed within that sentence. Here's some other examples of presupposition. I'm always amazed to learn how much clients spend on XYZ. How much are you guys spending on XYZ? The presupposition here is that the customers tell us. I speak to one-man bands right through to multinational corporates. I'm amazed to learn how much clients are spending on XYZ. Again, the assumption there is that the clients tell us this information. I was reading an article on how much clients spend on XYZ. How much are you spending on XYZ? This is that clients are comfortable actually publishing this information. That's the presupposition. We speak to clients all the time explaining how they are spending way too much on XYZ. How much are you spending on XYZ? Again, this is the client is comfortable giving you this information, thus making the other customer comfortable. The feedback from most people at your level or in your sector is that they are spending way too much on XYZ. How much are you spending on XYZ? Again, the presupposition there is that customers readily give you this information. Remember, this is designed to make the prospect feel more comfortable in answering some of those more difficult questions. So use presupposition as a way of softening that information, leaning on the natural assumptions that are built into language to once again make them access the answer to that question. I hope this has been useful. Remember to subscribe, give it a like, give it a share, leave a comment if needs be, and share with anyone that you think might get value from these videos. And as always, happy selling.